Unbelievable that I'm actually sitting here again doing yet another video. How do I keep going? You keep me going because you want to see more. I have more. First, let me back up and say hi, welcome. Come on in. You're at Konnee's little corner. Oh my gosh, guys, what a crazy week it has been. Over the weekend, you all found out who won that big, beautiful beauty box, the health and beauty box. Congratulations again, Tracy. And in case you were wondering, yes, she claimed that thing faster than you can snap your fingers. There was no hesitation. I got an email from her probably within 5 minutes of that video being released. So her thank you box, her subscriber appreciation box, whatever you want to call it, is on its way to her. She will have that within the next day or two. Hopefully, she will enjoy everything that's in it. The pet parade is still running. You have until the 13th to get your votes in, so make sure you go back to that video. You watch the doggies and you vote for the top dog. There's so many different votes coming in. There isn't a clear winner at this point. So I'm kind of excited to see who does come out as the top dog. Pretty cool, huh? And the hashtag electronics is still running on that video. So to make it easier for you guys, I'm going to put up a little picture of the thumbnail where you do your voting for the top dog and where you do your voting for hashtag electronics. I am not going to be sorting through a gazillion different videos trying to find comments for the random picker. The random picker is going to come off of one video where everybody is putting their comments. Okay? All right. Let's start this off a little differently. At the end of my last video, you heard me, well, you didn't hear me. You saw it if you read the screen that I was going to, at the end of the video, that I was going to go make myself a weird apple pie. A couple of you caught that. And a couple of you mentioned, what do you mean, weird apple pie? What's so weird about an apple pie? Well, this is one of those things is, when is an apple pie not an apple pie? When it's this. So today we are making a weird apple pie. Why is it a weird apple pie? Because we're not using a crust, we're not using a traditional pie pan. We are using Extreme Wellness, or any brand you choose, but I like the high fiber tortilla wraps by Extreme Wellness. We're using tortilla pans that are kind of rippled and bumpy, but you can use any smaller pans that you want. I prefer to use these because it works well with this. We're using 1 can of apple pie filling. We're using brown sugar. We're using some extra cinnamon, a little bit of spray oil. That's it. This is weird simply because of what we're using for a crust and how we're doing our filling. So I've taken 3 out of this package and leaving them at room temperature. I don't want them stiff because they'll crack and not tap into the mold. So we're going to leave them sit at room temperature. I've got them all sitting right here on a cutting board. 2 bigger ones for the base and 1 smaller one, which I'm going to show you what we're going to do for the top of the pie. So I can set those to the side. Piece of cake, right? Going to open our can. Now, if you typically, when I'm in a hurry, I use the can, but I prefer fresh apples, cut, cored, peeled, chopped to the size I like them when I make an apple pie. But this is a nice, quick, easy recipe. If I can get the can to open, it's going to be a quick, easy recipe. I hate fighting with these cans all the time, but it is what it is. Let's get through this. Get this opened. Some people like to drain what they get out of these dishes. I do not out of the dishes. What you get out of the cans, I don't drain it. I want all the filling that comes with it. There we go. Scrape the top of the can. Get the good stuff out of it. I've got my bowl. I'm going to move that front and center. My spatula. Now, these cans do come pre-flavored, right, guys? We all know that they come with a little bit of cinnamon in them. Not a lot of flavor, so I like to kick it up a notch. Scrape it out really good. If you need more than what's in this can to do these two pans, if you want it fuller, you can add just basic applesauce, which will give it more thickness. All right, take a taste. Pretty bland. We're going to kick it up. Ground cinnamon. Be careful, that stuff will explode in your face. For one can, if you're only using one can, all right, you're going to use 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. You're going to add 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Be careful you don't get too close and breathe this powder in, because that can really make you cough and gag if you do. Pretty much level. 1 tablespoon. Cinnamon is so messy. There's no way around it. Cinnamon is just messy. Okay, 1/4 cup. That's what I'm using here. And I will taste it before I add more. But I'm starting with 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And you're going to make sure that it's packed in there good and tight. It's okay if you're a little over 1/4 cup. It's not a big deal. If it comes out like that, you know it's packed tight. Break it up and get it all folded in to what came out of the can. It's going to look like a lot of cinnamon. Don't worry. It's definitely going to give you a darker mix. If you don't like cinnamon, then instead of using a tablespoon, cut it down to 1/2 tablespoon or even 3/4 tablespoon. Okay, take a taste. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's how easy it is to kick this up a notch from what's in the can. You're just going to add a little of your own spices to it. All right, I'm just going to let that sit for a second. Take each of our pans, my vegetable spray. Now, just so that you know, my oven is preheating at 350 degrees. Doesn't take long to cook these. It takes me about 35 minutes. Light spray, nothing crazy. You just want to make sure that you can get your crust out. That's done. You with me so far? Not too hard, right? Okay. Get that over there out of the way. Now, I found the 2 largest wraps that were in that particular bag. And all we're going to do, I roll it around and make sure that everything is covered in here, because sometimes your spray will settle on the bottom of the pan. All right, you're going to take your wrap. I fold it in half and then in half again to get a little point on it. Set it down into the middle and then open it up. And all you're going to do is press it into the mold. This is so easy. If you've got a little bit of extra, these are 8-inch wraps, by the way. Just fold it over, press it with your thumb. You see how I've got a little seam here. Just press it down and make sure you've got it pressed down good into each of these little ripples. That's it. That's how easy it is to do that. Okay, do the same thing on the second one. Press it down, work your way around, make sure it's pressed into all the corners, into all the little ripples, and wherever it ends up, make your seam in that one particular corner. Make sure it's pressed all the way down to the bottom. Don't leave it suspended up in the air. And again, guys, this is something your kids can do with you. This is so easy, and most people have this stuff around the house or can pick this up. I got all these ingredients at the Dollar General. I made a trip into town yesterday. I stopped at the Dollar General. All you're going to do now is you're just going to divide your mixture between the two pans. So if you were making one big pie, you could still use these as crusts, but you'd have to overlap them. One on one half of the pan, one on the other half of the pan, overlap them in the bottom, but you can still use this as a quick crust. You're going to put half your mixture down into one, spread it out, half your mixture down into the second one, make sure you spread it out. There you go. Use your spatula, spread it around, get everything out of the bowl. Now, remember these dip down on the edges, so you don't want this coming all the way up to the top. It's going to be about 3/4 full, as you can see. Okay, set these aside for a second. Grab a cutting board with one extra shell or one wrap. You can use a knife, but I have my little cutter that I got from Temu. I'm going to cut strips out of this, and I'm going to try to get as close to the edge as I can to make the strips even in width. Just work it through, pressing nice and hard. If they didn't cut all the way through, grab a knife. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it won't cut all the way through, but you can just do it easily with a knife to complete that cut. Sometimes they just stick a little, because this, remember, this is not a dough you're cutting. All right, let's cut the last of them. Got to move those over. That's 6, 7, got 9 of them. So here's what I typically do. I'll typically take the 2 longest ones and I set them aside, and then I work with the rest. You're going to crisscross, you're going to make your cover for your apple pie. Because this is not so long, you don't need a lot. All right? I tuck the ends down and lay them in on top, like that. Take the smaller pieces, tuck your ends down, lay them down on top. If need be, you can tear these in half and just make them shorter. Can you see what I'm doing here? Right? These do not have to overlap. You can if you want to. I'll do this to show you. Over, under. Don't be afraid to get your fingers in here, guys. Over. You're making your own little patchwork here, right? And then this one will be over. That one will go under. This one will go over, tear off the excess. You made your own little basket weave on the top. I just take the top edges and I roll them down and press them really, really hard. They will stick. It's not the end of the world if they don't stay folded over, but they typically will if you press them hard enough. Think of it like you're just creasing over the edge of a piece of paper. You just want to fold it down. And that's what I call bubble protection. You're just sealing it off so that when the insides decide to start bubbling up, they pretty much stay inside the pan. You just work your way around, press them down. See, by now your dough or your wrap is room temperature, so it's soft that you can fold it without it breaking. This is just a fun little thing I like to do. It's a very rainy day, a very cold day today. So that's my first little weird apple pie. Here comes the second one. We're going to do the exact same thing with the second one. Put our main one across the front. You can do more if you want, but I do 3 and 2 typically is what I do. Break off the excess, put it on this side. Here comes the one that's going to go here. We'll put that one over, this one under, that one over, tear off the excess. Tear off the excess. And there's no waste with these guys because you know what? You can always add the extra back onto it if you want to put a little bit more. Tear off the excess. There you go. This is so easy. Kids, grandkids, you don't have to have strong hands to do this. You don't have to worry about rolling out the dough. Do you have the flour? Do you have the vanilla? Do you have the butter? Big old process. Now, guys, I also use these wraps when I make a chicken pot pie or a beef pot pie. This is a great low-calorie way to make that kind of a meal. You use these in lieu of crusts. They will come out thin, but they will taste yummy because the good thing about using the wraps is that they absorb the flavor of what you put in them. They are porous, so you get that flavor in there. So there we go. These wraps are edible, as you know. 2. I'm going to grab a cookie sheet just to make it easy. Pull out my cooling rack for later. Onto the cookie sheet. If you want cleanup to be really, really easy, you can put some foil underneath this in case there is any bubble over. But remember, we didn't fill these all the way to the top. They're about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch lower. You'll get some bubble, but these are going to go in 350 for 30 minutes, and then you check for done. You check for golden. And we'll be back in 30 minutes. It's been exactly 30 minutes. I just pulled these out of the oven, and as you can see, they're lightly browned. They did bubble up some, but they didn't, nothing bubbled over into the tray. I'm going to put them on the cooling rack. We're going to let them sit on the cooling rack for at least 20 minutes. No less than 20 minutes. The good thing about these, you now have 2 individual pies. You can eat as much or as little as you wish. They're nice and crispy. The tops are very, very crispy, very hard. Just like any other regular crust. You can slice it down the middle, take the whole thing out. You can flip it over onto a plate, cut it in half, and serve it that way. Eat right out of the dish. Add ice cream, cheese, whatever you want to the top of it. But you've got 2 weird apple pies, compliments of Konnee's Kitchen. Enjoy! That's weird, right? It's also very delicious. It's also very low in calories and fat because it doesn't have all that flour and all that butter and all, everything that you would need to make a standard apple pie crust. Little hint, if you want a crispier crust, so to speak, you're not going to get a flaky crust because you only get that from a pie mix or when you make an actual pie crust. But from using the wraps, if you want a little crispier shell, before you put your filling in, put your shell into the tin, put that in the oven, bake it at 350 for 10 minutes. That will crisp up the crust. Let it cool, then put your apple pie filling inside of it, pop it back into the oven for 20 minutes. Also, if you're not real big on cinnamon, the brown sugar that I added, that's kind of the standard amount, but the cinnamon you can flex. You do it to your taste. My suggestion is do 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, mix it in really good and taste it. If it doesn't have enough where you can actually get that cinnamon flavor, then do a little bit more at a time. For me, I've made this enough. I know to go, for my taste, to go right to 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon. You're going to start smaller, smart with 1/4, okay, of a tablespoon. Or even 1/4 of a 1/4 of a teaspoon is not going to really be enough. Start with 1/4 of a tablespoon. All right. And work your way up until you get that taste that sits just right with you. And also, if you have nutmeg, I did not have any in the house, you can add a 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg into that mix, and that will give it a little bit, what do I want to call it? I want to call it that holiday kick, so to speak. So you can experiment with it. You can use other fillings. It doesn't have to be an apple pie filling. You can use those and make yourselves little mini pumpkin pies, little mincemeat pies, any kind of little pie. And yes, guys, you can even make little cream pies using those shells, but definitely pre-bake them to get that shell crispy. Then put your pudding inside of it and stick it in the refrigerator, and you'll get a cream pie out of it. So it's just a weird little pie, but it's kind of fun and it's kind of easy. The whole thing took, I don't know, from mixing everything up to putting everything together to put it in the oven and taking, letting it bake for 20 minutes. This was not even a half an hour. And I had those 2 nice little pies. And as you can see, I chose to flip it upside down on a plate, cut it in half. I ate half of it. At one point, I ate half of it at a different time. I still have one in the freezer. So good. So what we're going to get into now is some household items. I decided to go back to PriceBreak at Whatnot and give the guys another chance because they didn't fare too well with their first review. The ladies really kind of put them to shame. But it's been a couple of months, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to sit and I'm going to watch the show. So I watched a couple of shows, and I'm thinking, all right, they seem like they're doing a little bit better. Then I decided to go back into a show and watch them from, I think I was there from like 5 o'clock at night until they wrapped it up a little after 8, I think it was. So I did some shopping. I wanted to see how they handled labeling their items, how they handled shipping their items, because that was part of the issue before, is that I had missing items, then I had a wrong item because it wasn't stickered or labeled properly when I won the auction. So I wanted to see, well, have they come up with a better system to make that work? Everything about that show I was scrutinizing. So let's take a look at what I got. All right. This is all household stuff. This is quite a variety. I got myself a hold on, I gotta see if I can pull the sticker off. Well, that's another thing. They're using pre-printed stickers now. No more mistakes on how they're labeled. Nice, clear S item 184. So the S was for that particular size or that particular weight. Different packages have different weights. So nice new stickers. But this is a motion sensor light. This is going to be my motion sensor light for, I haven't quite decided. Probably my closet. I'm thinking my closet. Thing is stuck down in there. Anyway, this is a rechargeable. Let me open it up from this end. Can't get that out. Rechargeable, regular standard USB. Comes with a little tiny hardware, little itty bitty screws. Can you see those? Nothing too invasive. And your light. So you have your mounts on the bottom. Your instructions are in there. You have your selections here. Now, I did price this light, and I was a little surprised because this is a thick, heavy-duty quality one. This is not a super thin one. The one that I had gotten from AliExpress, I actually had, well, I didn't return it because, number one, they didn't send it in a box. It came in a bag, and it was all dent and busted up, and I said, forget it. But anyway, here you have your controls. You have your off, your on, all right, your level of light, and there's your motion sensor. These are sticky on the back. So when you first, this magnetic, by the way. So this will stick to your cabinet. You peel that off, you put your screw up into the cabinet, and then your light will just go and stay up there by magnet. Then you can take it down off the magnets when you need to charge it. Your charger's down here on this end. It doesn't weigh a lot. I don't think it's going to be a problem. My preference is to put it in the kitchen where the window is, under the shelf above my kitchen window, so that I don't have to keep turning the big lights on all the time. That this will just be motion sensor. It will come on for a certain period of time and it will go back off again. But this light runs for, this is 13 inches, just so that you know, by the way, 13 inches. This runs for $21.99. That's the retail on this. $21.99. That really surprised me. But it is good quality. And I paid $3 for it. $3. More than covered the shipping. Just the savings on that. All right. So I was very happy with that. Let's see what else we got in here. These things are packed very tightly in this box. All right, another S item. There's your label, 335. Again, clearly labeled, matches my video receipt. This is a stainless steel and wheat straw chopping board. It's a two-sided cutting board. Now, I'm trying to get rid of, I want to eliminate my wooden cutting boards for health reasons. Wood just is not, if it's not waxed and not sealed properly, I don't care how many times I put it through my steam sterilizer in my dishwasher, I'm just not certain that it's getting sterilized properly. So this, you don't have to worry about your food getting into. Stainless steel on this side, wheat on this side. Now, this side, you see this little thingy right here? All right. You can use that to either help hold food in place. You can use it as a little bit of a grater. You can use it, in other words, if you have a garlic clove, you can use it to rub your garlic clove across it and cut your garlic clove down, type of thing. All right. You can also use this side for serving. This is really, really nice looking. You can use that for serving. This is great, the great side for things like chicken and whatnot that you don't want, and it does have a little bit of a lip. I don't know if you can see it, but it does have a little bit of a lip around it so that the normal amount, it's hard to show you the lip, but I think you can see the normal amount of juices that would come out of like a tomato or an onion or raw chicken won't run off of this. It does have a notch in the handle, so if you wanted to hang it on a hook, you can hang it on a hook, but I don't hang mine. I have them sitting on the shelf like this above my kitchen sink where I can get them. That item sells for $14.99 typically, and I got it for $5. I'm digging in the box. Okay. Again, nicely labeled. This one is still wrapped in the plastic. I am going to unwrap it, but I'm not going to, because I want to show you how these come. I'm trying not to cut the box if I can help it. These are mini jigsaw puzzles. Now, I had initially gotten these. I was going to send these to Mama for Christmas. However, when I realized that they were not just mini in the size of the puzzle, they were mini in the size of the pieces, I'm like, oh, nope, can't do that. Can't send that to Mama. That is entirely too small. She does have good dexterity, but obviously at her age, she doesn't have the greatest eyes. So this is a 3-pack of puzzles, and these are tube puzzles. And the pieces, can you see how small? These are what they call micro puzzles. This first one is all fruit. That's what's in it. The second one looks like it's, I don't know, maybe macaroons? Looks like macaroons all stacked up on top of each other. And the third one is all candy. So I thought, well, you know what? These are perfect for kids. So this box is going to go into my children's giveaway box, which I bet you guys forgot about, right? You've been so focused on the beauty and the electronics and the dog, and now the kitty cat one that I'm starting, you forgot that I had a children's box. So this is going to go for the kids' box. This typically, what did I say the price was on this? Oh, let me see. Retails for, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? $15.99. $15.99 for these puzzles. That's crazy. I got it for $2. That's a deal. All right. Nicely tagged. This is a set of 2 nail polish. And I absolutely love these colors. Get this open here. This is As Your Beauty nail polish set. This set typically sells for $6.64. It is not gel. It is your typical acrylic, but these are the very soft earth tones. This one right here, that one that I'm wiggling, that's it's not matte, but it's flat. This one, as you can see, has a little bit of sparkle to it. Can you see the glitter on the side? If you look, it looks like a little sparkly, where this one is not sparkly. That's the difference between the two. But they're a nice, soft earth tone. I thought it was a great deal. $6.64 is what this typically sells for, but I got them for $2. That's cheaper than the Dollar Tree, right? $1 a bottle? And this is good polish. I've used this type of polish and I have that type of polish. So I'm very happy with that. They had some really good deals on the show that night, guys. Mm. Chocolate milk. I'm a big fan of chocolate milk. All right, let's see what else we got in here. This is a big box because there's big stuff in it, but there's not a lot in it. Okay. This is a big box of plates. 12 plates. Now, these are 8-inch plates, I believe. I'm going to measure them to be on the safe side. But they're dishwasher safe, microwave safe, freezer safe, BPA and toxin free. Perfect, right? That's how big they are. So they are technically, they're actually a 9-inch plate. They are a 9-inch plate. Not quite a dinner plate, but hello, little girl. He's down here at my hip. I said, plate, plate. I had sandwich plates that were old and icky, and I wanted to throw them away, but I wasn't going to throw them away till I had something else to use. So I saw this set, and they had a lot of them. And I said, you know what? I can split this set up. Some for me, some for you to go into a kitchen box that I'm going to start doing. So we have this terracotta color. There's 2 of those in terracotta. There's 2 in, I know this looks like, this is kind of like a dark teal. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It's not blue, it's a dark teal. There's 2 in blue, navy blue. There's 2 in yellow. There's 2 in ivory. And there's 2 in light blue. So the dark blue, the light blue, and the yellow is what I'm going to be putting into the kitchen box. So someone is going to get 6 brand new sandwich plates. And the terracotta, the teal, and the cream is what's going to go into my kitchen cabinet. So we are sharing the wealth. This particular box retails for $14.39. This is what you will see. $14.39 if you want to check it out. But I got this for $3. It was a time when people were not paying attention to what was being auctioned. They saw me win this. They're like, oh, good grab, Konnee, $3, because that was like the starting bid on that. And then all of a sudden he came out with more, and the other sets were going for $4, $5, and $6 because all of a sudden people realized what they were. So half of these for you, half of these for me. That's a great steal. All right. Sorry, no, there's nothing in here for you. She's like right here. Like, where's my stuff, Mom? There's nothing in here for you, baby girl. Oh, I don't know what I might have said that made her think that this was for her, but not this time. All right. This box. This looks like a plain old box. It's numbered properly. Everything in this order was correct, guys. Nothing was missing. Everything was packed beautifully. Nothing didn't belong to me. What's in this box retails for $24.99. She is being persistent. She is pushing at my hip. Like, come on, Mom, it's for me. It's for me. She's not happy because she can't go out for her walk today. It's been raining all day. She doesn't like the rain, even with her raincoat up. She'll go out, do what she's got to do, and then she's done. She wants back in the house. All right. As I said, this retails. Oh, let me see if I can get it out here. $24.99 for this. That's a good shipping box. I should say that. And this is Mums. Big, beautiful, UV resistant Mums. And there's a lot of stems in here, guys. These are not plastic. The stems are plastic, but this is the cloth. These are the silk flowers. There's got to be at least 20 stems in here. There are so many. Look, I've just pulled out 3 stems and I haven't even made a dent in the bag. So there's probably, gosh, I don't know if I count the stem. Well, maybe 10 stems, but there's a lot of stems in here. I had that big, beautiful hanging basket at the back of the house, and I really wanted to have something to put in it on a regular basis just to keep some nice color outside when everything's dark and dreary. So each of these stems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, has 7 stems of their own. By the time I put all these in that basket, this is going to make a nice full display. Absolutely thrilled with this. I mean, you're talking almost $25 worth of silk flowers, and I paid $9 for them. I love that they come in this zipper bag. I have never thought about keeping any silk flowers in Ziploc bags. This is a great idea. So all of these are the fall Mums. As soon as it stops raining, well, I'll probably wait till after Christmas when the Christmas decorations are down. Then I'll be able to put these out just as nice fall color or something to hold us over until springtime, right? Okay. What do we got left in this big box? Oh my gosh. We have a big kitchen rug. Again, this is stickered properly. This was a steal, guys. Seriously, this was a steal. Let me open this up and show you. This is a good size too. This is 17 by 47. Now, I have discovered that Miss Nala slips a lot on my floor. I have vinyl flooring in the house to make it easy to clean. I did that on purpose, but it's very, very slippery. I did trim her nails today, but she is still slipping a lot on the flooring, and that will throw her trick hip. It will definitely throw her hip out again and cause her some problems. So I did bring a area rug with me, which has been out in the shed. My plan is to hopefully tomorrow, if it's not raining, go out to the shed and grab that, get that put down in the living room. I believe it's a 5 by 7, so I should be able to put it. My area of concern is like right in front of the couch because that's the main walking area. But I wanted something to put down in the kitchen. And this is dark, almost blackish brown and the gray. And it's just a basic no skid runner. There you go. Rubber back. This is heavy too, guys. Nice rubber back, so it's not going to slip or skid. This will go down in front of the in the walkway, like in front of the pantry, because I have her dishes and her bowls and a mat in front of the sink. So in the rest of the walkway, this will give her clear passage to trot through the kitchen and not slip. So nice, big, huge rug. Massive rug, right? All right. And I told you what it retails for, did I? I think I did. Let me look at the thing again, tell you again. $24.99 is what it retails for. But I got it for $6. And they had more than one. Perfect. The steal. Absolute steal. Oh, yes, that is for you, Miss Nala, in a way. You want to move so Mommy can put it on the floor? Move, move, please. Move, please. She's just standing right there. Move, please. What? Go to your bed. Bed. Try it out. She's gonna check it out, see if she likes it. Okay. So price break. Evening show. Oh, she likes it. She can lay down on it. Okay. Evening show with the boys. How are they ranking up now that it's been a couple of months? We're going to use my 5-star rating and we're going to rate them again. Shipping speed and packing. Very quick. The show was on November 25th, considering we had a holiday in there and a weekend. I got it on December 5th. That was pretty good. My hat's coming forward. Don't know why. So, shipping speed and packing, excellent. Everything was packed nice and tightly in the box. Nothing was shifting around. Everything was protected. Granted, there was nothing breakable in there, but full star for that. Price of the shipping and prices of the items. Price of the shipping, I paid the flat $9.21. There was no additional shipping involved. I saved that just on that light. All right. And on everything in there because the prices were rock bottom. I think a couple of these items even had $1 starts. It was just ridiculous. But the prices I paid, exceptional savings. Absolutely. So they're going to get a full star for the price of the shipping and the price of the item. Variety and presentation. Now, variety they did get the half a star for last time, and they still get the half a star. They have no control over what's shown. It all comes out of a gaylord. There's someone beside them that's feeding them these items to show them. So, yes, great variety, as you can see. Presentation. They lost a half star on presentation last time. They're not losing a half star on presentation this time. So they're getting the full star for variety and presentation. Why? Because they took the time, if they didn't know what was in the box, or even if they did, like with the dishes, they opened the box and showed you the dishes so that you could at least see the size and you could see the colors. The same thing with the light. They opened the end of the box, slid the light out so you could kind of see what it was. You got more information from them. They were much better at giving you details before the bid was run, as opposed to just putting it up there and not telling you anything about it. So the presentation was good. It had a lot more people engaged in the bidding process. So if you did get a steal like I got on these things, you were lucky because most of the time people were paying attention. They have this thing that they do. If they have an item that they've shown before, like in the same show, but maybe a half hour ago, they showed the same item and nobody wanted it. They pull it out of the Gaylord and they know it didn't sell and they just toss it off to the side into another pile. Someone in the chat asked them, well, why are you doing that? And they said, well, there's no point in showing an item that they know that didn't sell. They just want to move on and show us other options and other possibilities. Myself and a different person said, yes, but you do get a turnover of people in the show. You get new people coming into the show, and there might be someone new that is interested in that. And I think it was Tristan that was running the show at that point. He said, that's a good point. He says, we will bring them back and show them again during the show, but they want to just keep moving on. That's the instructions they were given by their boss. That's cool. That's all right. I think it does save time and it does get more variety out there. So for variety and presentation, they're going to get a full star this time. Communication. Their communication was good. It was better. They were interacting with the chat. They were interacting with each other. The way they ran this show was there were 3 of them there. There was Tristan, Aiden, and Colton, and it's Colton with a K. Every half hour, they would rotate in. It would be a different host. And There was no hubbub about it, no nothing. It's like you show the item, your half hour, they showed the item, they got up, stepped away, the next person sat down in the chair. So they did that rotation. They kept the communication going amongst them while they were pulling things, while they were labeling things. They were answering questions for people in the chat. They were on top of it. All right. There wasn't a lot of hijinks going on. There wasn't a lot of that high schoolery kind of behavior, silliness going on. They were much more settled and down to business. So they're going to get a full star for the communication. Seller attitude, they completely lost a star on that seller attitude last time. Well, seller attitude, I am going to ding them just a half star. Colton, there's three guys, and I have to take into consideration that there's three different personalities there. All right. Colton got down to business. He was very personable, very friendly, very interactive with the chat, very much into what he was doing, focused on everything else. He had the right kind of attitude. He was pleasant and engaging, and worked very well with the chat, with the buyers. So he's kind of like the saving grace. Tristan and Aiden, to some point, still have that attitude of like they could care less if they're there or not. They flopped in the chair. They kind of slouched back. They put an item in front of them. Kind of bland, kind of meh. It was not appealing. It didn't engage the audience, so to speak. It didn't engage the shoppers. They didn't do anything to make us interested in an item. They put it up there, you either bought it or you didn't buy it. And if it was something they'd seen before, they'd pull it out of the box, they'd look at it, and they just toss it to the side. They were very bland with their facial expressions. They were very bland with their comments. They just didn't have, to me, they did not have the right attitude towards what they were doing. It's more like, God, let me just get you through this 3 hours or these 4 hours and get out of here. No life to them. No, very robotic, very, all right. Totally it's like they took full swing from being high school hijinks to being zombies. Not finding that middle of the road kind of thing. So for seller attitude, I'm going to have to take away a half a star because 2 out of 3 of the hosts don't have the right attitude. As far as my personal opinion, you may think something different. So the evening show of PriceBreak with the guys is going to get 4.5 stars. So they have come up in the rankings. I think that's pretty good that they've come up in the rankings. 4.5 is not bad. They given a little bit more time, they might get up to where they get 5 stars like the ladies do. But then again, they might not. So let's see what else we got. You know what? I'm not going to show you what else we got because I have 2 boxes by the same shop, and I don't want to get started on that. And I have a box from TheCheapChick. I have another box from 1 or 2 dog pet shops that I went to. I have a little something from SuperBuys coming. So I think we're going to call it a day on this one. We're going to make it early and quick. But before you go, remember, #electronics on this, on that video only, because I'm not going to see it on any other video. I'm not pulling up any other video for the comment picker. #electronics by the 13th on that one. Right? Go into Sunday's video. Here's the thumbnail. Right? That's where you're going to go in and watch the doggy competition, the parade of pets, and vote for the top dog. You'll also have for the 13th on that particular video to get your votes in. On the 14th, I will pull the random picker for the electronics and announce that winner. I will also announce the winner of the doggy giveaway box on the 14th. And you have the recipe for my weird pie. Is that not cool? Right? Hey, who said my baking was traditional? I love to do things on a shoestring, but still have them tasty. And I will give you a hint. My favorite way to do the weird pie is to use a flour tortilla, an 8-inch flour tortilla, because by the time you bake that, it tastes a lot more like a regular pie crust. But you can also buy the pre-made pie crusts. Just put them in something molded that's shaped a little bit different, and it makes it weird because it's not a traditional pie, right? You can use phyllo dough if you like that. You can make the dough for shoe buns and form it into that kind of a shape. There's a lot of different ways that you can make weird pie. That was just one example. So anyway, guys, big thumbs up. Hype it. Get it out there. If you don't have a hype, share it or hit that shooting star. And if you're not yet subscribed to Konnee's Little Corner, please do so, or at least consider doing so. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on anything. I have more household items coming and more pet items coming and more recipes coming and more updates coming. Either way, I'll be back, and I hope you will too. Bye.